Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a Catwoman mask for my wife. It's our 3-month wedding anniversary. I wasn't going to film it, but then I decided might as well. We kind of sat down and looked at a bunch of different Catwoman masks. Not so much anything from the films, but more so from the video games and the comics. And she picked elements of that she happened to like, which is what I put together into this mask. Essentially, it's not based off any one version of Catwoman. It's just kind of an amalgamation of various aspects of the costume in the comics and the Arkham games throughout the years. In that sense, I feel like it's a good basic pattern you could always tweak and do other things with. I may make her a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman mask from Batman Returns in the future, and if I do, I will do a video on that as well. And just like everything else recently, due to all the shutdowns and all this stuff, all the patterns for this video are still going to be for free, and there will be a link to that in Facebook below. But without me rambling on anymore, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Okay, I've cut out all my patterns and transferred all my registration marks, and you'll need 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and 2 number 3s. And the first thing I'm going to do is use some contact cement to close the eyepiece, and also to close this cut here on number 2. And if you haven't used contact cement before, how it works is you apply it to each surface to be bonded, allow it to sit for 15 to 20 minutes, and then once it's dried on each side, you can stick the two together. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and line them up and stick them together. Next, I'm going to apply contact cement and join the number 1 piece to the number 2 for each side. Next, I will contact cement the 3 into the completed 1 and 2. Okay, now that both sides are put together, I'm going to use a hat maker's mannequin head solid and round. What you haven't possessed, even a softball will work. I'll just have to do it a little bit more gradually than what you'll be doing with something that's larger like this. And I'm going to use a dual setting heat gun on high, and I'm going to put it on here and round out these pointy edges and just get the mask looking round instead of bumpy. So what I'm doing on the ears is I'm just heating and kind of pushing in along this curvature here. Now that I've got it rounded off and got the definition put in the ears, I'm going to start working on the face. Okay, now that I've finished my heat forming, I have cut out my earpieces also from 5mm EVA foam. These actually, though, on the back side of them, I'm gonna need to angle these off. I'm just gonna do that with some scissors. I could sand it, and I suppose I could have just done an angled cut, but I really wanted these to be as exact as possible. It's easier for me anyways to go through with a sharp pair of scissors and just cut along the edge and make a nice angle. Next, you're going to need to mark where the ears are going to go on your actual cowl. So, to show you here, whenever I put this on here, I lined the tip here up with this registration mark. It's the third registration mark back on the number 1 and 2 combined pieces. And once I have my tip lined up, I just simply curve it down, and where it ends up is where I draw my line. And then I check and make sure I get them as even as possible so that the ears will be level on both sides. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue these on with contact cement. Okay, next we have the ear top, and you're going to put the shorter end of the angle lined up over this and going along the front, getting the edge as lined up and even as you can all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to glue this on here with contact cement, but I'm actually going to put the back side. I'm actually not going to use contact cement for that. I'm just going to use some super glue after the fact. I'll show that next. Alright, once I contact cemented the ears in place in the front, I just simply ran a bead of super glue around the back. There was a spot where it didn't really want to stick, so I just had to put a little glue on it and apply a little pressure till it went into place. And now both the ears are on. Time to get out the Dremel. Once this dries, I'm going to do some sanding and sand up the area here where I joined the 2mm EVA foam ear top to the earpiece itself that is 5mm, and I'm going to round out some seams a little bit, and then I'll move on to doing some siliconing to hide the center seam, these two seams, and the ear seams. But until then, I'm going to put this upside down to dry so that the super glue can finish doing its thing as the oxygen activates it. Alright, now that I'm done sanding it with my Dremel, I have some DAP Alex Plus Clear All-Purpose Acrylic Latex Cosplay Silicone. This is not the Fast Dry, it's just the regular. And I always put mine into Tupperware with some Saran Wrap and a lid so I can keep it as fresh as possible. And then I just have some tap water in a container. What I'm going to do is spread this on with my finger and then use the tap water to smooth it out. Okay, so I went ahead and sprayed it with some spray sealer. I wasn't able to film it, however, because I didn't use Plastidip. I used this stuff. Got it at Dollar General. And it leaves a really cool texture. The problem is, unlike Plastidip, it sprays a lot at once. So in order to get it evenly coated, I had to hold it at about a 3.5 foot distance back, which caused a lot of overspray, but also made it pretty much impossible to film. But luckily, my wife likes the texture. This is a texture I generally try to get by doing multiple layers thinly of Plastidip to get it to just kind of beat up, but this just did it automatically. So that's an interesting thing. So if you're interested in getting a texture like this, and you have a Dollar General near you, this stuff is only $5. While I'm waiting on this to finish curing the rest of the way, I'm going to go ahead and make the goggles. And for those, you're going to need 4 of the goggle patterns, 2 for each side. And next, I'm going to take and trace around these on some material to use for a lens and cut it a little smaller. You can use whatever you want, whether it's just transparent. You could use 1/4 inch acrylic plexiglass. You could use packaging plastic. I actually have some pieces left over from my Mandalorian visor that I could use to make them nice and dark and tinted. I'm going to go ask her what she wants, though. My wife has chosen tinted, and this is a Hobart face shield replacement. I believe on the website it was called a replacement grinding shield. I'll try to remember to put a link to that. And I actually have pieces of that left over from my Mandalorian helmet build. The nice thing is there's a protective layer of plastic on the outside, so I can just draw right on that, cut around it, and not worry about anything, and then just peel the plastic off when I'm ready to glue it in. Alright, my lenses are now put together, sandwiched between the two 2mm pieces of EVA foam. And next, I'm going to contact cement the actual back of the goggles to it. And how this works is I'm going to heat and bend each of these right here, just like this. I did mark it on the pattern, and each one I'm doing slightly different because I'm going to follow along the outside edge of this, and this bend is to account for you having to abruptly curve it right there. So the contact cement will go along the flat edge of the pattern, and the bend is, like I say, is marked on the pattern, but it's on the smaller end of the two. Okay, I did have to do a bit of trimming on the inside of the top here, since the brow came out a little more on this side and a little less on this side, so I had to trim them both a little different. But the bottoms matched up, since I didn't really do much to that part of the pattern except curve it a little. So now I'm going to join the two together using the bridge pattern piece. And that is 5mm as well. Okay, I used the mask as a guide, as to make sure I had this lined up in the center so that when it is on here, everything will match up. Next, I'm going to put some elastic on it. I have a feeling she probably won't have this on. She'll probably have it up here, but whatever. Alright, I use some leather straps and some velcro so that this can be adjustable, whether it wants to be up on the forehead or actually have it covering the eyes. And cut this to length and put a velcro closure on it. I also got a fair amount of this spray sealant inside. So what I did was I took some Mod Podge, which is acrylic and non-toxic, and I coated the inside of this with 2 layers. That way none of this stuff is touching my wife's skin or face, and also just to seal it in so that if we need to, we can clean it, because foam is absorbent, and sealing this with some Mod Podge definitely ended that absorbency, so now it can actually be cleaned, which is a definite plus. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this build and it gave you some ideas for your own projects. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be doing next. Stuff for The Last Ronin. However, everything for The Last Ronin is just kind of in the planning phase right now. So I would like to at least get a little further along in this comic series. I hope they can stick the landing because the first issue is awesome. If you haven't read it, go out and check it out. And if you don't have the money to purchase it, you can always check out Comics Explained or The Comic Storian here on YouTube. So you can always go check that out. In fact, if I remember, I will try to link both those down in the description. So if you wish, you can go check that out. It's really awesome so far. And if I would do any Ninja Turtle cosplay as of right now, if you would have asked me before this comic series came out, I would have said Raphael. But now I really like the look of The Last Ronin. So I'm hoping the story turns out as awesome as all the designs and concepts do. And as always, the patterns for this mask, there's a link to that below. They're free on Facebook. You can download them. They're for a 22-inch head with hair. What I mean is my wife has hair, thick hair, long hair. So this mask in the back of it comes out more straight to accommodate her hair coming out of the back of the mask, if that makes sense. If you don't have any hair or want to do something different, you're going to want to like extend the back here probably and round it off a bit more, since, like I say, this mask is meant to accommodate hair. If you need to scale it up, you can always increase it by 5% to get like a 23-inch head, and from there you may have to cut it up onto several templates as you enlarge the patterns if you have a 24, 25, or 26-inch head. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.